it's a big show.
Welcome to the Fade Route
It's a big bad show tonight.
with DNZ.
Yeah, it's a big show.
Here are your hosts,
Cracking up, telling them lies.
DNZ.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Fade Route with D and Z. I am D, and we've got a great show for you tonight. We're going to talk about Jack Del Rio's Dust Up, the NBA Finals. We're going to order up our favorite football jerseys. But we'll begin today's show with a preview of the Stanley Cup Finals. Despite being down 2-0, the defending champion Tampa Bay Lightning came back to win 4 straight to get to their 3rd straight Stanley Cup Finals, where they will meet the Colorado Avalanche. Can the Lightning win their 3rd cup in a row, Z?
Well, first and foremost, congratulations to the Lightning. They took it to the Rangers. They mucked it up even more than the Rangers needed to survive. They played to the whistle. They played through the whistle in some instances. A couple of players stood out above and beyond. Kucherov, as we know, Stamkos came up big. Mikhail Sergachev had a stellar series, and you also had Andrei Vasilevsky. So, can they? They're there. So they have the opportunity has presented itself. Now, what's interesting to me is that the Avalanche have had 9 days off, whereas 9. So this could very well be a rust situation in the same way that the Rangers were able to blitz the Lightning the first game for a tune of 6 and then never got close to 6 ever again. So it's quite possible that can be the early onslaught from the Tampa Bay Lightning as far as the Colorado Avalanche goes. Francouz currently is the starting goaltender. Darcy Kemper, he might be in the lineup. He has been out since game 1 of the Western Conference Finals against the Edmonton Oilers. So if Darcy Kemper is in goal, that presents a little bit of a problem because Darcy Kemper's 6'5". He's a big guy, and a big guy makes a big target. Now, because of that, is he going to present more of a challenge to Tampa Bay and their skill? You have to say yes. Overall, it's going to be a good matchup. You do have, you have the veteran nature of the Tampa Bay Lightning, the players that were unproven previously, because this roster has turned over. We've mentioned it, right? Cedric Paquette is gone. You have Yanni Gourde is gone. You've had players that were key cogs in this championship run, and they're gone now, and they're being replaced by other players like Belmar, I'm blanking on his name right now, but the right winger on the 3rd line. But they're seamlessly fitting in, and this is a good quality. This is a good quality to have, where you can just kind of keep going and kind of take it from there. Colorado, they do have plenty of playoff experience. They don't have their best players have not been this far ever. So, at this point, Tampa Bay, for their best players, it's been there, done that. And for Colorado to be successful, they're going to have to blitz Tampa Bay, and they're going to have to blitz them often. So another thing that really needs to be hammered home, Brandon Hagel, that was the guy. Left wing, not right wing. Brandon Hagel, that was the guy. But I don't know, it just popped into my head. But
Thank you, Google.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, ESPN. But the X factor here, right? You have 2. Right? You actually have 2 on Colorado and you have 1 on Tampa Bay. if Braden Point plays, Braden Point is an X factor for Tampa Bay, and they were trying to fill in as best as they could, and they did an admirable job. But Braden Point definitely adds depth to this roster, adds depth to this group of forwards. Whereas Kemper, I mentioned already, but if Nazem Kadri is playing, this could be interesting because he is a grit guy. He's a sandpaper guy. He gets under your skin and makes you take penalties because he, much like the players on Tampa Bay, he'll play to the line, he'll occasionally cross it, and he has a rep in this league. So if Kadri can play at all, this will be a very intense, very physical, very chippy series, and there's no reason that Tampa Bay can't win. There's no reason that Colorado can't win. This is, in fact, a pick'em. And if you're going to ask me to, just because I'm bitter, I'm saying Colorado in 7.
I was going to say, you're pretty bitter. I can tell you're bitter. Listen, I mean, this is the best story, and these are the best possible outcome, okay? We want to see a dynasty in hockey. It doesn't happen much. Last time it happened was the New York Islanders in the 80s. The Colorado Avalanche are the most talented team, and we get to see them go against the 2-time defending champions. You know my motto, to be the man. Well, it's not mine. Ric Flair's motto.
Woo!
To be the man, you gotta beat the man, all right? And let me tell you, the Tampa Bay Lightning, man, they showed their stuff, man. They showed their stuff. And Ranger fans are bitter. They want to blame it on the schedule. They want to blame it on how tired they were. I don't want to hear it. They got beat by the defending champions. And you want to chant Igor's better in Madison Square Garden? That's what's going to happen. You mess with one of the best goalies in the league and he shut them down. The dude, I think, has only given up like 1 goal, or he's given up 3 goals, I think, in his last like 8 or 9 game 7s. Like, come on, man. And I think it's his last 18 game clinching series. He's a wall. And they've got talent. They've got your talent. Ryan McDonough, former captain of the New York Rangers, is on their team, going for his 2nd cup, or maybe his third, I think. He's going
At this point, his 3rd.
His 3rd. Like, come on. They're talented. Kucherov, I love this man. I love his game. He's so smooth. And I have the Lightning winning in 7, and so talk to me about your Rangers. Like, listen, they're my Rangers too, but that was the dismal display. Are you gonna go along with everybody else and say, hey man, they were tired, they gave it their all, or are you gonna chalk it up to they got beat by a better team?
They got beat because they were tired, and they got beat by a better team.
Okay,
both can be true.
No.
You are no. Both can absolutely be true, and do not bullshit me on this. Like, you do not do that, because they absolutely were dog tired. You can see it. They played in back-to-back 7-game series, and Tampa Bay was better. Both can be true. Don't pull that stuff, because it is in fact true.
If the Rangers won Game 3,
this is a different story.
Do you think it goes 7?
It goes 7.
It still goes 7. So Tampa still wins 3 in a row.
Possibly. I
Wow.
think that if the New York Rangers are up 3-0, even 3-1.
Yeah.
Even if they're 3-1, I still think they had a puncher's chance. They went in, they did what they had to do. They did not finish the job. But they showed enough early on that they were not afraid. They were not afraid of these guys.
They definitely weren't.
And that's
weren't.
important. That is
and
important.
they came out swinging, man. They came out swinging. And Ryan McDonough said it, that Game 3 it was a series-changing goal that Tampa scored to win that game, and they just never looked back, man. They never looked back.
You had them on the ropes.
Had them.
And you could knock them out.
They were done. They were looking for their mouthpiece.
That's it.
And
let them get back up.
But that's the scariest part of this team, right? It's like they fall down but they never waver. There's never a sense of urgency. There's never, we're worried. It's, these guys let us back in the series and they're going to regret it. That's like the mindset. And I think that's what that's the issue the Avalanche are going to have is unless you're knocking these guys down, they're going to keep coming back. And the Avalanche goalie situation is really shaky. And what do you need in hockey? You need the hot goaltender. You need the hot goalie. Is there anybody hotter than Tampa's goalie right now? I don't think so. So
if you're forced to play Frank Kuz, if you're forced to play the backup, if Kemper can't go, this could be a sweep. This could absolutely be a sweep. Now the thing is that
I agree
because you're not facing Mike Smith. Yeah, you may need to put up 8. You may need to put up 8, but Vasilevsky isn't giving up 8.
No,
He's not Mike Smith.
No.
He's just not. But you, as the Colorado Avalanche, cannot give up that many. You cannot. You have to be a wall around your goalie.
And even with this extra time off, I got to be honest, I can't see this man giving up more than 3 goals a game to this team. I just can't. And they really got to make sure they win that first game or it could get ugly.
We love youth sports. Not only do they get the kids out and active, but they teach the necessary skills of teamwork, sportsmanship, and fair play. One organization that we are proud to partner with is Ossining AYSO Soccer. Their mission is to develop and deliver quality, player-centered youth soccer programs that promote a fun, fair, family environment where everyone is welcome and everyone plays. If you have a child between the ages of 4 and 18, registration for the Fall 2022, Spring 2023 season opens April 27th with an early bird special. Sign up before June 15th for only $175 per child. For more information, to sign up, or to volunteer as a coach or referee, go to ayso201.org today. The more volunteers, the more children can enjoy the youth soccer experience with Ossining AYSO. That's ayso201.org. More soccer for more kids. ayso201.org. Visa and MasterCard payments only.
But other things topping headlines last week, the Washington Commanders defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio commented on the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol as a minor dust-up. His comments were met with so much opposition that he walked them back, apologized, and deleted his Twitter account. All of that did not stop the Washington Commanders from fining Del Rio $100,000. Did the Washington Commanders do enough?
If Del Rio thinks that was a minor dust-up, I would love to know what he thinks a major dust-up is. Because we saw it in front of our eyes, right? We watched it in live history, right? It happened, it unfolded in front of our eyes. We watched the storming of the Capitol take place. Like, this is gaslighting at the heart of it. It is absolute gaslighting on Del Rio's part. Seeing what happened and the aftermath of it, like, come on. Now, they absolutely, the Washington Commanders, they have so much scandal and
the commies.
Yeah, at this point, the commies, whatever you want to call them, there's been so much drama, so much nonsense that they had to do something. And $100K, I mean, it feels like he's getting off light. I mean, he got dragged through the court of public opinion. He had to issue a public apology. He had to apologize to Coach Rivera. He had to apologize to the rest of the team for being a distraction, which is like the lamest fucking apology that you can make. Because if he doubled down, if he doubled down on it, he probably would have gotten fired. And not even because people disagree with him, but because of the media's backlash that it would cause. But in this instance, I think hitting him in the wallet is definitely the way to go, and it's a good opening salvo, kind of like, keep your mouth shut, and if you do it again, you're out on your ass.
Yeah, I mean, when I first saw these comments, I was like, this guy needs to resign. I mean, what is he thinking? He's a defensive coordinator for a team called the Washington Commanders, a team that's looking to get a new football stadium. And this is what you say, this is what you come out as they're doing the January 6th hearings?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, check him for CTE. But then I saw that this is who he is, right? He attacked Otis Taylor during a strike in 1987. You know, for Otis Taylor was crossing the line as a scab while Jack Del Rio was a linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he pushed him, attacked him, knocked the guy to the ground. Was that a minor dust-up? Jack, he has a history of making poor decisions, clearly. So, in that regard, I'm giving him a pass, but it's not surprising. You know, you just gotta keep your mouth shut. Like, there's no reason why you had to comment on this. There's no reason why you had to say anything. And this all comes from your comments being hurtful for those who were negatively impacted, right? It's like, there's just certain things you don't say and just certain things you don't do. If he wants to have those feelings that it was a minor dust-up, keep that opinion to yourself.
Absolutely.
You don't have to bring that out in the open so that people can see what an inconsiderate asshole you are.
As far as, I mean, yeah, no, absolutely. Like, you know, the phrase is, you know, you're showing ass. And this is a showing ass type statement. And he shows he was an ass. So, I mean, would it have bothered me if he resigned? No. Would it have bothered me if they fired him? No. Does it bother me that he gets to keep his job? No. Right.
Right. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him lose his job over this, especially after I see that this is who he is, right?
But still, it's like, you know, I can see where it would be appropriate for some kind of action, but also with the organization he's with, it's like nothing is out of bounds.
Avoid messy accidents. Get better stopping power with your brake pads. Callahan brake pads. You never know when you'll be driving in the road and there will be a truck tire that you need to avoid and save your family. Callahan Auto. We really care about what's under your hood. But one of the other headlines this organization is receiving is mandatory mini camps started opening up this week, and among the no-shows was Scary Terry, who's entering the final year of his rookie contract and wants a new deal, rightfully so. Contract talks are progressing nicely, but how important is it for the Washington Commies to get their star wide receiver into camp?
A lot of Washington talk today. It's very interesting that we're keeping it not just in the NFC East, but particularly in the DMV area.
East Coast, I-95, you know.
Absolutely. We're gonna talk about Baltimore next. So this is perfect. But it's important. It's critical that Terry McLaurin gets into camp and builds some level of rapport with his new quarterback, Carson Wentz. You have to go in and you have to. If you're going to be anything in this division, and it doesn't look like they are, but you know, if you have any aspirations of being anything in the division, you need to have your best players practicing together so that you have some semblance of chemistry and you're actually going to be, you know, somewhat of a threat. If you're looking at it, right? He peaked in 2020, 87 catches for 1,118 yards. Last year, 77 for 1,053 and 5 touchdowns. So, you know, not great numbers, decent, solid. But if he builds that rapport, kind of like what certain things have, like let's say a CD Lamb and Dak Prescott, or before, like Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill once had, or Devontae Adams once had with Aaron Rodgers. You know, if you can build that level of trust and rapport, those numbers can go up exponentially. And a rising tide floats all boats, especially with a team that's as mediocre as the Washington Commanders.
You have them in low regard. I think they're better than you're saying. I mean, I know they just got Carson Wentz, who was a throwaway, really, from the Colts.
Yeah.
Antonio Gibson, young running back, showing a lot of promise, got a lot of intangibles, a lot of skills. Logan Thomas, young tight end, good player. They need Terry to be there. He's the future of their receiving core, and we assume that the quarterback is going to be Carson Wentz, but Taylor Heineke is their backup, right?
Mm-hmm.
He needs to get reps with him too, because that could happen at any moment. Curtis Samuel missed pretty much all last year, just really couldn't get on the field. He's back. Montez Sweat is going to be on that defense. Like, they're in a division that's not a world beater, right? You can get 9 wins in this division, and you can make the playoffs and be a competent team. Despite Jack Del Rio's comments, Ron Rivera is a great coach. Not a good coach, a great coach. He gets the best out of his players. And people forget, 2 years ago, when they played the Buccaneers in the first round of the playoffs, they almost had them. Heineke was keeping them in the game. Ultimately, Brady won. But, they're a competent team. And it's important to, for me, I always think of minicamp is they're doing their installs. They're installing the offense. They're getting people into shape. And then really training camp is getting tuned up for the season. So in that respect, I think it's important that he comes into camp where, we see Kyler Murray, he winded up reporting. We're going to talk later a little bit about Lamar showing up. This is a winnable division. Come in and we can work out the contract another time.
Well, this is, that aspect of it is true. You go in, you show that you're a team guy, you're there, you let your agent do you let the agent do the negotiation. That's why you pay your agent. But yeah, I don't hold this team in high regard. You're absolutely right, because they've regressed at quarterback. They've regressed at the most important position. I don't believe in Carson Wentz. I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face. I know that you and I differ on him, but he is a huge step back from Taylor Heineke. Not even mentioning Alex Smith.
You think
right?
He's a huge step back from Taylor?
Huge. Huge. This man was in a ready-made situation in Indy, and all he had to do was not fuck it up. And he went and fucked it up.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you need to know about this man. And I'm not discounting Gibson. I think he's a fantastic running back. McLaurin with the right guy is good. I mean, Logan Thomas, solid. He's on the older side already, because he was a quarterback that they turned into a tight end. So he's definitely I think he's in his 30s, if not at like early 30s. So that's definitely interesting. The offensive line is definitely a work in progress. I mean, the left side, you have Leno and Norwell. I mean, decent. And we'll see what it is. But the defense, outside of the pass rush, I'm not wooed. I'm not wowed. Like, if you can get to the quarterback, great, because you're going to need to.
Do you think they're regretting that new name yet, the Commanders? Do you think that regret has set in yet?
I don't know. I mean, because what were the alternatives? I mean, the Washington football team, I mean, it grew on me. I can't speak.
It's such a cop-out. It's a cop-out.
But it did. It grew on me. What can you say? Because what were the alternatives, right? The Warthogs, the Red Wolves, the Red Tails.
Red Tails was cool. Monuments was cool. Right? Presidents was cool. There's a lot of different options. Glad they didn't go with the Guardians.
Yeah, well, with Guardians and Commanders. I don't know. Can we get more generic? But, I'm fine with it because they need to get as far away from the Redskins as possible. And, I mean, there's nothing says naval about the Washington.
Armada was the other one.
Armada Commanders.
Like no body of water next to them.
I mean, they train in Richmond, so like the James River is there, but you don't have you don't send an armada up a river. I'm pretty sure the Spaniards did not send them up a river in 1588. If they did, maybe they would have been more successful. Maybe they're onto something. But you know who else is onto something? Lamar Jackson. He showed up to minicamp yesterday to take his physical. Star QB's in the final year of his contract with the Baltimore Ravens. So were you surprised to see him show up without a new deal?
I was extremely surprised. But this is Lamar betting on himself and knowing how important it is for him to be at mandatory minicamp. Listen, I think they're going to work this out. I think they're going to get a deal done. But, I mean, kudos for him, betting on himself and just wanting to be there for his teammates, his team, and trying to get better.
I think it's important that, you definitely need to get in on the ground level and try and build up something with these wideouts because, frankly, you don't have much, right? You have Bateman. We're still trying to figure out if Bateman is a top-notch receiver. Is Duvernay a kick returner or is he an all-around player? I don't know that. Sammy Watkins is gone. You have Prochet, like he's going to be your number 3. This is a very, this offense is very strange. It's just for the lack of a better term, it's very
I don't
strange.
really know. I don't know what they're going to be running. I would assume that
they're going to be running J.K. Dobbins a lot.
Oh,
a lot.
I think he's going to have a good year actually. I'm not worried about him. I think he's going to have a really good year.
I think Dobbins, if he stays healthy, he's going to be really good. I mean, they're 3 running backs deep. You have Gus Edwards. You also have Mike Davis. You have players there, and
he's trash.
But as a third string, he's fine. But if Dobbins is out, he gets elevated to second string. So, I mean, and then the immortal Gus Edwards is back in again. But this team, like, they traded Hollywood Brown. And they still, based on the depth chart I'm looking at, they haven't replaced him. I'm sorry. The offense runs through Mark Andrews.
Well, listen, they open up their season against the Jets on 9/11. Wow. Looking at the Jets' first 10 games, Jeebus. Listen to this gauntlet. The New York Jets play the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals, the Steelers, the Dolphins, the Packers, the Broncos, the Patriots, the Bills, and the Patriots.
Jesus
Can you
Christ.
say, if they had an AD, he would be fired?
Yeah, they definitely. They can use a cupcake.
That's 2-8 right there. If you're lucky, you might be able to squeak one out against the Browns, and I don't know, maybe you beat the Dolphins. But jeez, that's brutal. Pretty much starting off. You start off with 4 games straight against the AFC North. Ouch.
You definitely are in some trouble. But Lamar Jackson could very well be in some trouble too. Because if you're looking at last year, right, he only started 12 games. Right, it was 7.5 overall. I mean, 65% completion, 64.4, fine, whatever. 16 touchdowns, 13 picks. Not that great,
Sounds like a second year or a rookie year, right? It doesn't sound like a guy that just came off being an MVP.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't instill much confidence, but like all it did was reignite the fact that they don't have any weapons around him. And I don't understand what they're doing because they're systematically like stripping away these weapons and they're giving him rookies. And I don't see that this is going to benefit him because unless they're in the market for Julio Jones, which
We've been
possible.
saying that you've been saying that for like 2 years now.
I've been saying that, yeah, for a very long time.
Sons
You know,
of
with
bitches.
from the Titans trade. I mean, if the Ravens can score Julio Jones and Julio Jones plays up to caliber, the Titans are going to look so bad for giving up all of that to get half a year.
Word on the street is the Carolina Panthers are looking to pick up Baker, but they want the Browns to eat the majority of his salary. And that'd be interesting if Baker goes down to Carolina, so that Carolina has Darnold and Baker, two of the top 10 picks in that draft, right?
Yeah, and meanwhile, Lamar Jackson is outclassing both of them.
Pretty much. And really, Josh Allen is just killing everybody.
Do you love brownies? Of course you love brownies. But you know what's better than a brownie? A delicious, handcrafted, gourmet brownie delivered right to your doorstep. That's what our guys at Sweet Life Brownie Co. offer. Chef Tommy D and the crew offer a dozen delicious delights that you will crave, from the classic OB to Dutch apple to campfire s'mores and many more. Check out their website, sweetlifebrownieco.com, for their Friday brownie drops. At noon, their site goes live and you see what they're making. Since you're there, become a site member and earn points. You earn 50 points just by signing up. Make sure you follow them on Instagram and Facebook too, at sweetlifebrownie_co, for the latest updates and their latest releases and creations. That's sweetlifebrownieco.com. Give them a call, 845-641-3043, and tell them D&Z sent you. That's sweetlifebrownieco.com, 845-641-3043. Sweet Life Brownie Co., because there's always room for a brownie.
But, another news kind of buried this, right? I mean, the Golden State Warriors came out firing last night to improve their record at home to 11-1 this postseason. The Celtics were previously undefeated after a loss during the postseason. Well, they lost last night. Now, the winner of Game 5 usually goes on to win the series. If the Warriors go on to win the series, will Steph Curry go down as a top 10 player of all time?
It's a good question. I mean, if you take into account the entirety of it, including the postseason, absolutely, Steph Curry is definitely going to be up on that list. Now, I'm not saying that he is going to be high on the top 10. He could sneak in at around 7 or 8, because you do have a lot of other players. We can't be too myopic and we can't be prisoners of the moment, right? Because we also have Jordan. You're going to have guys like Bill Russell, like all-time great winners. And Steph Curry is taking advantage of this modern NBA. And I still believe that if you move him to another era, he's not as effective, right? Whereas if you have a guy like Michael Jordan or Bill Russell in the relaxed rules of this current NBA, we'd be talking about, they'd be gods. So, is he going to... He's going to be there already, in my opinion. But it is very interesting that he not only has the record, he has the second spot on that in terms of consecutive games with a three-pointer made. But if we're looking at this, it's major credit to Andrew Wiggins and Klay Thompson, right? Because Steph did not have a good night. He only had 16 points, 7 of 22 from field, 0 for 9 from 3. And those guys stepped up because you got nothing from Draymond. You got, 8 points. Thanks for coming, Draymond. You got 2 from Otto Porter Jr.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Gary Payton II got 15. Jordan Poole got 14. Nobody else posted. Oh, Kayvon Looney got 2.
My man.
A whole 2. So there's your offense right there. When this team doesn't post and they still win by 10, that's a good sign. It's a good sign that the Warriors are rounding into form, and we are going to find out on this Thursday if they can seal the deal on the road in Boston. And Steph Curry is angry at his performance, right? And an angry Steph Curry is a dangerous Steph Curry. And I want to see him shoot the lights out, because shooters are going to shoot. It's what they do. And I really don't know if Boston has an answer on the perimeter for Steph Curry, who's motivated like that.
Well, I want to see Game 6, Clay. That's what I want to see. That's what I'm tuning in for the next game. But, I mean, when I first look at this, it's weird, right? Because I think Steph Curry is already the best shooter of all time. But I don't think he's a top 10 player of all time, which is weird to say, right? You would think the best shooter of all time would be a top 10 player. He's an interesting one. He's just a result of the times. He's a result of where we are in the era of basketball. But even if he wins this next title and he gets his 4th ring, I don't think he enters that top 10 player. Because I have MJ, Magic, Bird, LeBron, Kareem, Shaq, Kobe, Barkley, Olajuwon, Chamberlain, Russell. Those, you're not better than those guys. Maybe top 10 guard, right?
Yeah.
Michael, Magic, Kidd, Gary Payton, Nash, Ray Allen, Stockton, Reggie Miller. Okay, yeah, he could become a top 10 guard of all time, but he probably is already a top 10 guard of all time. So this win does a lot for him in the sense that I think if he's better than Durant if he gets this. He beats Durant out. And I think he takes a step towards LeBron. LeBron for me changed the game because he was the first player since I think Magic that could really play all 5 positions, and he went to the finals like almost every year in a row. The problem with LeBron was that he lost finals, and a lot of times he went to Miami to team up with players. He was always teaming up with guys. It wasn't like his team. Like, let's not be twisted. Golden State Warriors, they're Steph's team. Even though last game he was 0 for 9 from 3 and only had like 16 points, and they still won the game. Despite those numbers, they won. But I still think he needs to be on the team. Right? He's still their most valuable player. I wouldn't say Golden State could get any further without him, right?
No, definitely not.
So that's where I am on Steph. I think, to beat LeBron, he'd probably have to win 2 more titles, and then I'd say, okay, this was really the Steph Curry era. And, LeBron may have had the 2002 to 2012, 2013, but Steph came on strong with Clay, and you don't want people debating during your time if you were the best. If people have to debate during your time if you were the best, then you really weren't. Like, nobody's coming out and saying like Clyde Drexler was just as good as Michael Jordan, right? And so it was pretty clear and cut who the best player of that era was.
No, it absolutely was. And it goes to show you actually the nature of the argument because of who they're trying to compare this to, right? Because LeBron, he's being mentioned in the breath of Michael Jordan, in the breath of Kobe, like that echelon of players. Steph Curry, we're still debating whether or not Kevin Durant is still we're still talking about contemporaries with Steph.
Right, not all the time, right.
Yeah. So if you like you said, if you are mentioning him with contemporaries, then he's not there yet. Now, if we are going to do player comps with all-time greats, I mean, for me, in terms of shooters, it's him and Reggie Miller. Like that's fine by me. Like we can put him in the same rarefied air as Reggie Miller or Robert Ory.
Ray
Like,
Allen.
Ray
Ray
Allen.
Ray Allen.
Yeah, that's fine. Like we can definitely do that, but he hasn't separated himself so far from his contemporaries that we're not mentioning him. Because LeBron, like who are we talking about with LeBron in terms of contemporaries? Nobody. Like absolutely nobody.
Well, I think a lot of people like to talk about Durant. I do. People do. I agree with you. I agree with you, but people do. There was a time when they were saying that he was the Slim Reaper, you know, and that he just was, you know, he didn't have the players LeBron had, you know.
Right, but then he went and joined the Golden State Warriors. That's when I lost respect for Kevin Durant. And then all the stuff about the burner accounts and all that stuff. Like when he really showed ass and was like, showed he has rabbit ears and has very thin skin, like that removed all modicum of respect that I had for him. And then the Brooklyn thing just kind of like, you know, at that point when the Brooklyn thing happens, it's just like, what do you expect, man? What do you expect?
Right.
This is who Kevin Durant is. He showed you years ago.
Are you in need of air care maintenance or service? I have the company for you. Air Care Technicians. They service the Westchester and Northern Bronx area and can help you with all your heating and cooling, maintenance, and service needs. Just give them a call at 914-315-1547. Again, that's 914-315-1547. Or shoot them an email at aircaretechnicians@gmail.com. These guys are the real deal as they are veteran-owned, licensed, and insured. Make sure to tell them that D&Z sent you. Well, the other thing we're finding out is about a lot of what some golfers are made of, right? The LIV Tour kicked off this weekend to the dismay of the PGA Tour, where suspended players Sergio Garcia, Dustin Johnson, Matt Jones, and Phil Mickelson, just to name a few, joined up with the LIV Tour. Is there a better way for the PGA Tour to approach the situation?
Well, like anything that we've seen, right? In the beginning, it's mocked. Then eventually, they start to acknowledge you. Then they start to take things that you have made popular, and then they just absorb your league. Like that is what we've seen, right?
They just absorb your league.
Then they just absorb it because you run out of money, right? If that's what we've seen from the ABA, that's what we saw from the WHA. We've seen this, right? The three-point shot was not in the NBA until the ABA merged, right? The NFL and the AFL. These mergers happen. But first, these upstart leagues are ridiculed because, oh, they don't have the financial backing, or, oh, they're in small markets, or, oh, this, oh, that. This particular tour, they're coming out swinging. Like, they are throwing a lot of money around, and they are getting big names, right? They didn't get Rory yet. They didn't get Tiger Woods yet. But you have multiple-time PGA champions, right? You mentioned DJ. You mentioned Sergio Garcia, Phil Mickelson, Charles Schwartzel. Charles Schwartzel just won the first LIV event, right? He is a former winner. You have a roster full of guys that have pelts on the wall. They have name recognition. So you're going to get eyes. You are definitely going to get eyes. But at some point, the PGA Tour is going to have to stop with the enmity between them, right? Because you had the league president, you had Jay Monahan coming out saying that, they need us. Really, dude? Really, dude? Charles Schwartzel just took home a clean $4 million for winning that event. They don't need you, dude. I think last place is like 130,000. Excuse me. They're doing just fine. Eventually, it may come to the point where you're merging these leagues, you're merging these tours, but they're not there yet. But the PGA Tour, what they need to do is just shut up. Shut up and just let them have their moment, have goodwill, have grace, and try and work with them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the PGA Tour could think acting in this way is going to attract golfers to come play on tour, or going to get the golfers that got suspended and left to come back. It seems like the PGA Tour is acting like a jealous ex-girlfriend. I mean, that's what I feel like. If golfers want to play on another tour, let them. They're still playing the majors, so what does it matter? If anything, the PGA Tour should accept the competition, right? And hope that the new tour brings a new audience or new revenue streams, new competitions that you could create. Stop, look at them as a competitor, but try to benefit from that competitor. Don't fight with them. Figure out a way to compensate players and try to build cross-functional deals for the future. I mean, let's see. The PGA Tour is funded by billionaire corporations, right? And probably the TV networks. But eventually, that LIV Tour is probably going to get a TV contract. And if I'm not mistaken, the LIV Tour is pretty much funded by the Saudi Arabian government.
Mm-hmm. Those pockets are deep.
Right, the pockets are deep, and to quote what Phil Mickelson, I believe, said, some scary motherfuckers. I mean, so what's your angle here? It should be, and a lot of the people who are playing the PGA Tour is what they're trying to play for the history, right? There's history of the U.S. Open. There's history at some of these events. That's wonderful. The LIV Tour is trying to spark something new. It's trying to create a new revenue stream that everybody should be trying to take a part of and not fight with.
Absolutely. Like I said before, a rising tide floats all boats. Now, can you gripe about how we got here, right? Can we gripe about the issue between Phil Mickelson and the blood money comment and all that? You can absolutely gripe about this, but at the end of the day, the goal of the PGA Tour, the goal of the LIV Tour, is to promote the game of golf, is to get as many eyeballs on it as possible, and to inflate the purses as much as possible to get these guys paid.
Right. It's like, at the end of the day, what do we always talk about? The answer to everything is money.
Money.
I mean, and for the LIV Tour, these are accomplished golfers. They've made their money. Okay, so now they're trying to make more money. They're trying to pad their stats. I don't see how you're going to compete with that. If there's a young college kid who's trying to get into golf and join a tour, and he sees that, if I come in last in the LIV Tour, I'm going to make $185,000. Meanwhile, I can't even get on the PGA Tour. My expenses are going to be so high, I'm not going to be able to make it.
No, it's, that's as quietly as it's kept. It's very difficult, and it's a constant grind. And, most golfers, they don't earn their tour card until very late. That's why you have That's why you have this window, and then you go into the Champions Tour. So it's one of those things that you got to strike while the iron's hot. So it would behoove some of these guys if the Saudis want them, and it's a no-cut league. It's like they're no-cut events. So I know if I'm making a guaranteed $130,000, even if I shit the bed, I'm going to do that. I'm absolutely going to do that. And if that forces the PGA to turn around and, kind of alter their business model to include these no-cut events, maybe that's kind of what you need in order to kind of get these guys back into the fold. But you have plenty of players like Sergio Garcia. Now, granted, Sergio Garcia is Sergio Garcia at this point. He's pouty, he's whiny. That's who Sergio is. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have a point.
It's time for the mail route on the Fade Route. If you want to get featured, hit us up, faderoutemail@gmail.com, or slide in those DMs at Fade Route Podcast on IG, or drop us a line on our Twitter page at Fade Route DNZ.
All right, boys and girls, we have a full email box for you. And if you want to slide it in our mailbox, hit us up at faderoutemail@gmail.com, or slide in those DMs at Fade Route Podcast on IG, or Fade Route DNZ on Twitter. The first email today comes from Ben in Osney. Hey guys. People like to refer to Draymond Green as a future Hall of Famer. Can a guy with the same number of fouls as points in an NBA Finals really be considered a Hall of Famer?
The short answer for me is no. I don't know why people like Michael Wilbon, Stephen A. Smith, and Jalen Rose say Draymond Green is a Hall of Famer. I don't care if he facilitates the offense and they play better when he's on the court. His style of play doesn't work everywhere, and we'll see that when he leaves Golden State. I'm not sure I'm taking him over Garnett, Rodman, Barkley, Malone, or Duncan.
I don't see it either, to be perfectly honest.
Can't figure it out.
I don't see it. Because he's good to the media. Like, he's always good for a soundbite. That's the thing about Draymond Green. He's always going to court the media. You're going to know exactly where he stands. He's candid. He's engaging. And, that's important. That is absolutely important. However, if you look at his play, right? Career, 8.7 points, 6.9 rebounds, 5.4 assists.
Triple single.
44% from the field, 71.2% from free throws, right? The only thing he does exceptionally well is defense. Like, he's a defensive player, right? It's effort. But guys like Ben Wallace, like, we had questions about Ben Wallace, right? And you're talking about max effort guys. And to me, player comp is Dennis Rodman, but Dennis Rodman's a far better player than Draymond Green.
Right. It's not even close, in my opinion.
Yeah, right. But like, it's hard to come up with a player comp and justify this. Draymond Green is a good role player. He fits this team very well. Draymond Green cannot be a star on his own. Draymond Green probably can't be a complementary player to a different star than Steph Curry or Klay Thompson, because they have a very unique set of skills that Draymond Green complements very well. You put him on the Lakers with Russell Westbrook, I don't see it, You put him name a superstar. Like, you put him in Miami with Jimmy Butler, that could be a fucking train wreck, and I'd be there for it. Like, I would love to see that. I would like to see Jimmy Butler and actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of want to see Jimmy and Draymond on the same court. Like, that would be hilarious. But yeah, like, he just has a very specific set of skills. He's right place, right time. I just don't see him as a Hall of Famer. Email number 2 comes from Daniela in Coral Gables, Florida. Hey, we're trending south of DC. We finally made it. Tyreek Hill said on his Needed to Be Said podcast last week that Tua was more accurate than Patrick Mahomes. Too soon to take shots at his former teammate?
You know, Tyreek's going to learn the hard way how good he had it. You know, I do agree Tua might be more accurate, but Pat can throw bombs. Don't compare a Honda to a Ferrari. I mean, Hill's not a possession receiver. He's a speed guy. Speed guy needs to run as far as he can, run under the ball, catch it, and keep on running. So, yeah, I think it's too soon. You haven't even played a real game with this guy, and last year he didn't even know the offense.
I mean, how are we defining accuracy, right? Are we defining it as completion percentage? Are we defining it as he's going to throw it to an open spot and I'm going to run under it? Like, how is Mr. Hill assessing this accuracy? Is it the stationary drill that Russell Wilson won at it was during the Super Bowl. It was at the Players Week. Like, are you doing it that way? Like, how are we assessing this? Because if you're looking at completion percentage, like, Tua Tagovailoa is 66.2, Patrick Mahomes is 66.1 for his career. So that is very interesting. Is it shade? It's absolutely shade. And is it Tyreek Hill trying to be a good teammate to build up his quarterback who he knows is under fire? That's also true. But if you look at the game, right? If you actually watch, and I'm not saying watch highlights, I'm saying actually watch the game, you cannot put Patrick Mahomes and Tua Tagovailoa in the same stratosphere. The only thing they have in common is that they play quarterback. That is it, and that is all. And, you know, Patrick Mahomes is head and shoulders above Tua Tagovailoa and will be head and shoulders above Tua Tagovailoa for a very long time. You know, kudos to Tyreek Hill for trying to prop his guy up, but I don't see it. I don't see it at all. Email number 3 from Drew in Costa Mesa, California. Hey, now we're on the West Coast. Nice. Jerick McKinnon signed back with the Chiefs this week. Who do you ultimately see leading the team in carries this year?
I actually like Rojo. I think he's got a lot to prove. He played for the Bucks, has a ring, was replaced by Leonard Fournette. I think he's got a lot to prove. I like his chances of being their guy.
I can see it being a relatively even split if Edwards-Helaire is healthy. If Edwards-Helaire is not healthy, then it's going to be the Rojo show. And Rojo has demonstrated that he can do the job, right? Granted, Leonard Fournette can do it better, but Leonard Fournette's not here. So I think Rojo deserves a shot to see what he can do. Jerick McKinnon is a third down back. You know, he's not a guy that is going to carry the workload. You know, he didn't do it in Minnesota. He didn't do it in San Francisco. It's just not, it's not his deal, and it's okay. You know, not everybody's a bell cow. How many running backs in this league are actively considered bell cows? Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry. Like, that's about it. Like, those are the only two I would say are definitive bell cow backs. So I think Rojo and Edwards-Helaire are definitely going to get their fair share. just because, the wideouts, I mean, Juju, Hardman, and Valdez-Scantling do not equal Tyreek Hill. You throw in Josh Gordon, too. 4 of them, they don't equal Tyreek Hill. Sorry. So, at this point in time, the Chiefs are definitely going to be a run heavy, and it's not going to be like the Chiefs that we're used to. And I think that's going to benefit them in the long run because everybody's so geared up for this pass, and you just hammer away with Edwards-Helaire and Rojo, and this could be something that keeps them going and sustains their dynasty of one for a little bit longer.
The Fade Store presents the Alleged Superstar of the Week Award.
All right, boys and girls, you know what time it is. It's time for the Alleged Superstar of the Week. You know how it goes. We put up a poll on our Twitter account at FadeRouteDNZ, and you vote. And you vote, and you vote, and you vote. And do you know, D? Do you know who took home the stellar ass trophy last week?
I don't.
Well, it was one Deshaun Watson. Like, Deshaun Watson is starting to run away with this to the point where we may need to make it the Deshaun Watson Alleged Superstar of the Week award. I'm just saying. I'm throwing it out there. But Deshaun Watson was last week. Who was your nominee list for this week, D?
All right. First up, I've got Jack Del Rio, defensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders, calling the assault on the Capitol a minor dust-up. Just stick to coaching the football team, Jack Del Rio. You are my Alleged Superstar of the Week. Number 2, the Italy national team lost to Germany 5-2. Gave up 5 goals to Germany, including 2 to Timo Werner. What is going on with the Italians? The Azzurri guys are my Alleged Superstar of the Week. And last, and a surprise to you, Z, Steph Curry, best shooter of all time, goes 0 for 9 from 3 in Game 5 with only 16 points, but his team still wins. You're supposed to be the Finals MVP and possibly a top 10 player all time. Dude, you gotta hit your 3-point shots and you gotta will your team to victory. Steph Curry, you, my friend, are my Alleged Superstar of the Week. What do you have, Z?
Well, first and foremost, you put Steph Curry out. I did like the Tim Allen. Really?
Yeah.
I like that, but that just that kind of knocked me for a loop. But all good choices. All good choices. In Italy is just, they lost to South Central Macedonia or whatever it was.
What is going on?
Northwestern Macedonia State. I don't know. But, all I know is that our Azzurri are not going anywhere near that World Cup in Qatar.
Brutal.
And, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous how the mighty have fallen. Just from Euro last year. They
won the Euro. They won the Euro. And now we can't beat anybody. 5-2. Good Lord, man.
Come on. Granted, I get it's Germany, but still, come on. You're better than that. But speaking of you're better than that, Tony La Russa, for your 2-strike, 2-out, intentional walk to Trey Turner that turned into a 3-run jack for Max Muncy.
4-pitch walk him. Huh?
Yeah. It's 1 and 2? Nah, it's all right. First base. Freddie Freeman took second. Nah, we'll set up the force. There are 2 outs, Tony. I said what I said.
Damn it.
I said what I said. Apparently, he was looking at old numbers because Max Muncy, he's not hitting lefties well. He took him deep. He tanked. So you can't defend this gaffe, Tony. No wonder the fans were chanting, "Fire Tony." Tony La Russa, you are my Alleged Superstar of the Week. Fox Sports for refusing to show trans icon and Jeopardy champion Amy Schneider's first pitch at the Dodgers-Giants Pride game, instead showing Kurt Busch's pitch from 2 days ago to promote a NASCAR race. This is Pride Month on Pride Day, featuring San Francisco Giants and LA Dodgers. Like, what are you doing? Like, what agenda are you promoting here? Like, I get that you have NASCAR and you want to promote NASCAR, but really, dude? That's just reeks of transphobia, and it just reeks of tone deafness, especially since it's Pride Month. Fox Sports, you are my alleged superstar of the week. Jay Monahan, for not only suspending PGA golfers for affiliation with the Saudi LIV Tour, but doubling down on the decision by saying that golfers need the PGA Tour. Need I remind you, the winner, Charles Schwartzel, took home $4 million smackaroos. Jay, Bubby, they don't need you, homie. They don't need you right now. Jay Monahan, you are my alleged superstar of the week. I think we've said our piece, ladies and gentlemen. Go to the poll. It goes up after the show. And vote, and vote, and vote, and vote. And for our nominees. Just do better, boys. Just do better.
Your favorite podcast has its own merch line now. Go to the Fade store with DNZ.com today for all your Fade Route merch needs. I'm talking tank tops, t-shirts, sweatshirts, like yoga pants, we got those too. Like some cool accessories, we got those too. And we're not done yet. We have so much more planned for you, but check out what we have today at the Fade store with DNZ.com. That's the Fade store with DNZ.com. Order up!
All right, boys and girls, it is time for us to order up.
Order up, order up.
This week, we are continuing with our ordering up of our favorite jerseys, and we finally got there. Our favorite football jerseys. Here they are, from 5 to 1. Who you got, D?
Oh, it's such a beautiful collection, I feel like. But the first up I have is the Ravens. Loving their home black jersey, white numbers with the gold outline and the purple depth to the numbers. It is one of my favorite jerseys, and it has the Ravens crest on the sleeve, little B and R, little Maryland flag in there. It's awesome. Number 4, I have the Bucks away jersey, the white jersey. You got the red numbers, black outline, pirate ship on the sleeve. Brady rocking that 12. Definitely going to pick that up before he retires. Number 3, surprise you. Buffalo Bills, their current away jersey, the white jersey, blue numbers, red outline. It's a beautiful jersey. I remember when CJ Spiller used to rock the 28 in that. It was beautiful. I'll probably get an Allen one of these days. Number 2, this was close for me. Number 1 and number 2 is hard. But with number 2, I went with the 1998 49ers home and away jersey. So the away jersey was the white jersey, red numbers, gold outlining with black interior. And I loved it when they wore it with the white pants, but the gold pants were nice too. And then the home jersey was the red jersey, white numbers, black outline, gold pants. That's a hot jersey. And number 1, it's every kid's favorite jersey back in the day. It was that Dolphins jersey, the all-time jersey, where you have it has to be the away one with the white. It was the white jersey. You had the teal numbers, and I got my Dan Marino jersey here with the orange outline and the dolphin wearing the helmet on the sleeve, and then you had the striped sleeve with the teal, white, orange. Hot. Z, what do you got?
I mean, those are good choices. I mean, you can't really go wrong with any of them. For me, I'm going with the 99 Giants as my number 5.
Oh, this is garbage.
Classic.
99 Giants?
The 99 Giants.
Jeez.
Now, but they're not so appreciably different from the Phil Simms and the Lawrence Taylors and the early on of Michael Strahan. Like, I like these uniforms. I like when they bring it back for the color rush, right? They
Which
bring
one? Wait, which jersey? The home or the away?
I personally will go with either, but like the all white, I think it's kind of slick. Like, I think it's nice with the blue helmet. I think it's a pretty cool look. And, you know, I get excited when they break it out for the color rush. And, you know, it just takes you back to better times as a Giant fan. So, like, for me, I'm going with that.
Okay,
No.
yeah, it's very close to the Bills jersey. It's not that far off.
It's not that far off. No, it's not like the Peerless Price Bills jersey with the red on it. Like,
Right.
that was a little too far away, but the Giants are just nostalgic enough. Number 4, I mean, I like the Patriots. Like, it's just classic, right? The navy blue with the gray and the silver helmet. It's just the Patriot logo. At this point, it's become as iconic as the Yankee pinstripes. So, I mean, I would do this if we're going to do like polarizing teams, right? It would be the New England Patriots or the Dallas Cowboys. Well, fuck the Cowboys. So I'm going with the Patriots. Number 3, the New York Jets. 98 to 2000, the Bill Parcells, the Vinny Testaverde Jets, where you had the green with the white on the sleeve, or the white with the green on the sleeve, with the Jet as a football. To me, that is just old school, as old school gets, with the green Sandy stocks. Like, that is just classic. And it really, like, it classed up the joint a little bit for the Jets. You know, the Jets can sometimes come off as a little, you know, with that Kelly green, and just, it comes off as like derivative of the Eagles. This, like, really set them apart and made them look like their own kind of, you know, their own design. This might seem a little out there, but number 2 for me, it's a time period. The 2004 to 2008 Seattle Seahawks, with that teal, like that dark teal.
Yeah.
The Matt you see Matt Hasselbeck, you see Sean Alexander in it for a little bit.
Jerry Rice
was in it. It's a different uniform, you know. It definitely, like, it caught your attention, and it wasn't, you know, I can't stand the neon green ones, like the highlighter ones, but this one, it's understated, and it was just a departure from previous Seahawks lore, and it just, you know, it made for something different and refreshing. And number 1 for me, it's a tie. It's the same franchise, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, creamsicle orange, right? Retro, classic, Steve Young, exactly what you think of when you picture, right, the vintage Bucks, but then also the Brad Johnson, Mike Allstott, Warren Sapp, with the red jersey, with the pewter helmet, with the small Buccaneer flag, not the giant one that was like wrapping around the helmet. Like, that's a little too garish. This one here is just clean, and also it was fearsome. Like, you knew you were going into Tampa Bay, and you were in for a fight. But when you look at the other ones, they were just such staples of mediocrity. The creamsicle ones, like, you knew you were going into Tampa and you were going to win, and you were going to win big. But either way, they represented the spirit, and they represented the vibe of the team very well.
This has been the Fade Route with D&Z. Thanks for tuning in tonight. You catch our podcast on Wednesday nights on Anchor, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Until next time, stay faded, everyone.
Time for us to run the go route, but we'll talk to you next week.
Want to get on the action, we want to hear from you. Hit us up, faderoutemail@gmail.com. Slide in our DMs on IG @FadeRoutePodcast. Drop us a DM on Twitter @FadeRouteDNZ. Comment on our YouTube channel, The Fade Route with DNZ. Questions, comments, picks, segment suggestions, you name it, we want to hear from you. Get at us, in crowd. Thanks for listening to this episode of our podcast. If you like what you heard and want to hear more, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Rate us 5 stars, leave us a review, turn on subscription notifications, and tell your friends. Spread the word, spread it wide.